So thank you for sharing your outstanding system. Genevieve, we all appreciate you. We admire the way you do business. We admire the way you share what you do. I know you've been back in the kitchen yourself with parties that have been over $2,000, but you also have a simple system that I think a lot of people are interested in, using Linktree to be able to onboard, help your consultants start off, and being a very simple way to do, quote, kind of like a catalog party. Can you introduce yourself and say, and share how you've been using the system and what you've figured out about using kind of landing pages or Linktree pages, or however you want to call it? As you can see, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Patty, I appreciate you guys having me. My name is Genevieve Black. For anybody I don't know, I'm in San Diego, California, and I've been with Pampered Chef 15 years. So, and I'm excited to share. So I was actually asked to share a couple different kinds of parties. And of course, I'm Pacific time, so it's early in the morning, and I got downstairs and my computer decided to do a mandatory reboot. So I'm on my phone and I'm really hoping my computer catches up so I can jump on and do a screen share. But meanwhile, I'll talk to you guys what I do, and hopefully I'll get to screen share and answer any questions. So, so the two kinds of parties I was asked to share, the first one is through Linktree. So I do a party through Linktree, and that's, so I have different kinds of parties. My first go-to is always table. I offer that first, but of course there's always reasons why I might need to readjust. One of the things I love about Linktree is it's just a down and dirty catalog party, right? It's super easy to just add a link. So I have a Linktree party that is always standard. I have a couple posts on there that I really like. The first one is a leap link. If you haven't used Linktree before, the leap link is where they can click. It says basically click here to order with your host, and then that takes them to a separate Linktree that has all of my shows listed. So I have, you know, Susie host, Karen host, Laura host, etc. Then
I'm sorry to interrupt, but at that point, do you also help new consultants onboarding add their link for their?
Yeah. So that's a really easy one, especially like the recruits I signed just before the holidays, because we were really close to that Christmas cutoff. So I was like, I've got a party already ready to go. Create a party, and Consultants Corner, give me your link. And I would just add them and then send them the Linktree too. So of course we want our consultants to personalize it more to them, right? To work with their customers. But if you do need like a quick, like, you know, when we need consultants to qualify to earn our trip or to get in before the holidays or whatever we're trying to meet, it's a really easy way to not have to do a whole lot extra and run an entire party for them. Because, you know, I go back and forth on how I feel about running parties for new consultants, because it's a lot of work, right? And we want them to learn. So, but being able to add to a Linktree is really, really easy. So the other links that I have on there, so I always have one about a featured product. It's usually like one of our power tools, or like our rapid prep if it's on sale, or something like that. So right now I would be doing the blender. And then I have a link that is always my personal demo. So I'll have a recipe that I'm demoing that I've pre-recorded. That's usually anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on which one it is. And so that way they get to see me personally. Oops, sorry, something just fell on my desk. So that way they get to see me personally, right? And get to know me. So I have a little demo that I put on there. I have a link that's a recruiting link, and you can always have one on Linktree that does like a little wiggle. I don't know if you guys know Linktree, but where the link will actually do a little wiggle. That's always the one I have, is the recruiting post. And so it can either go to like the Pampered Chef recruiting page where they can sign up and get more information about the kits and specials and things. Anytime I link to the website, our website, I always make sure it's my website, right? So I go in there and it's the pamperedchef.biz/Gen Black. So I always have that. And then for the like recruiting one, I would always go to my website. And then I have one that's links to our recipes, same thing, my personal website, but recipes. And I show them where they can like search for recipes by product or by keyword. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, any of the specials. So I have another link that is linked to like the guest specials, the host specials, stuff like that. And then I usually have like a couple fun other demo links that are just short ones that Pampered Chef usually has done. So like there was a video that's out there that's like, you know, fun ways to use an avocado or something. And so I like those because they're great clickbait, right? They see something and they're like, I want to know how to have a fun way to use avocados. And so they'll click on it. So, so that's usually what I have. But like I said, the nice thing about doing it this way is it's kind of a catalog party. So anybody who's like for example, somebody who's hosted with me a million times in the past, and they're like, look, I love the special. I want to get the special. I always have friends that want to order. Can you just give me a link? So the old school way, right? I would give them a link, or then I would mail them catalogs, but like it just doesn't give them much meat. And so with a link tree, I can say, sure, here's your link. And the link is actually to Linktree. It's not just an ordering link. So they have a way to interact, see what's new, see the specials, see my face, and then still be able to order, right? It's still a link. So it's just a one-time message. So I draft a message that my host can send out, and it'll say something like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share what's new and exciting with Pampered Chef. I'm doing a quick catalog party. If you'd like to see what's new, and place an order and stock up with a few things in your kitchen, here's my party link. And so it's just one message that they can either Facebook message out, text out, anything like that. And they can just send it out, and it's got all the ordering links on there. And the nice thing is, because I've already got it set up, literally all I have to do is create their party in Consultants Corner and add it to my Leap link. So it really doesn't take much time for me at all. So it's always a great way to like add an extra 3 or 4 parties on. The other way I use this one too is I have a lot of customers, right, that from my customer page or from my newsletter that just do reorders all the time. And so, for example, I had somebody who reached out and she's like, hey, before the holidays, she's like, hey, I need to get cookie sheets. You know, I need to get some new cookie sheets before the holidays to start my holiday baking. She's like, can you give me a link to an open party? And I'm like, even better, I can give you a link to your open party and you could collect some orders and get your cookie sheets for free. And she's like, done. And so it's somebody that maybe necessarily doesn't want to have a party, but they want to order. And so why not just share the link with a few friends? And she was thrilled. Like she literally like sent out the link, and 4 days later she had, I think it was like $600-700 in sales, and she got her cookie sheets for free.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's my first kind of party. Do you want me to pause here and answer questions and then go to the second one?
Yes. So are you able to, you're on your phone. So let me just say, do you have multiple Linktree accounts was one of the questions.
Yes. So I only have, I think only one paid account. So I have multiple Linktree accounts because I use it for so many different things. I could do like a whole training on Linktree. I have like a whole recruiting Linktree page that is only like recruiting Q&A and recruiting videos. So the paid accounts are specific to ones that you want to embed the videos and that Leap link. And so if you just want to use it in a simple form, you don't have to pay for it. But if you want any of those little extras, I believe it's like $6 or $7 a month or something like that. But so I do have multiple.
So you have like, you're paying 6 times 3, you're paying 18 a month?
Because not all of them need to be paid accounts.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I think really I only have one paid account, and the rest of them are free because you, like I said, unless you're having any of the like the special things like the embedded videos or whatever, you don't have to pay for it. So but I have multiple, and I actually have a spreadsheet that has, I'm a spreadsheet geek. So I have a spreadsheet that has all of the different link trees that I have and what each of them are. So like I have a link tree that says something about join my team. I know that's my recruiting one. I have one that's just my name, Genevieve Black. That's my party one. I have the Leap link, which is with all my ordering links. And that one is, it says order with your host. So like I've named them all, but then I also have descriptions. So that way when I'm like, oh shoot, which link do I need to send this person? I know which ones are which.
Do you find traction, like your recruiting one is something your whole team could use, or it's specific to you?
Yeah, I make it so it's generic enough for my whole team to use. So we use it on opportunity events. I use it when like a consultant says, hey, I think I have somebody on my party who's interested in joining my team. You know, of course, I tell them, let's get on a Zoom together, but here's something you can send them in the meanwhile. So yeah, so I use that and try and keep it generic for everybody.
And Carolyn Rasmussen said, a brainstorm Linktree to project broadcast landing pages, question mark?
Yeah, I don't. Sure. And that's what's great. Is like, honestly, I learned this Linktree stuff from somebody else. And that's what I love about Pampered Chef, right? And all of us leaders is we share and then we tweak, right? And share,
Right.
tweak, and tweak. And that's what we do. So
Yeah. Well,
that's what I did
think-
is I took this Linktree thing and I'm like, you know what I could do with this? This. You know what I could do with this? So like, yeah, you can make it anything you need it to be.
Well, what I love is I was sitting at ExecSem next to Pauline Livermore, who has basically, she says, I have the same user, I have the same account. I use it 4 different ways. So it's username like PC Party 1, PC Party 2, PC Party 3. She uses it exactly like you do. One of them is a generic page ready to go for all her new consultants who need to be onboarded. So she could just add their shopping link, shop with this host, and all the new people right away have a way to get engaged. She has one that she uses for her own party that is more customized to her own posts and has her own welcome and stuff. But I think she also has a third one that she uses kind of as a training for new consultants, like with some training stuff in it. So yes, we do need a Linktree training, and I heard you almost volunteer there, Genevieve.
Oh. Well, as long as it's not 8 o'clock in the morning, you guys kill me with these 8 o'clock calls.
Asked how many days do you run your Linktree party?
So the great thing about Linktree parties is I don't stress too much about it. I mean, you always give them like an initial date because otherwise they're like, oh, 2 months. Is that what I heard you say? So I always tell them like, 3 days, 4 days, something like that. But it doesn't matter, right? If they want to keep it open, because I'm not actually running content or changing anything. It's just, I leave your link there till I close the party and then I delete it from my leave link. So.
Okay. Now you're going to go into a second topic. So if we want to, you said the other texting.
Yeah. So the other party I do, and again, this is just, stolen and tweaked, is I do an express party. So these, again, my first go-to is always table parties. But then if they're like, oh, like I don't know if I want to have a long party, or if they like are trying to meet a deadline, like, to get double free or something like that, and we need to do something quick. Or if they're just looking for something different, sometimes they're just like, my friends want to see something different. I'm like, done. So I do a 15-minute express party. And this is how I do it, is I actually load it into Project Broadcast, and I do it through texting. So I know a lot of people do it through Facebook Messenger, but what I found with Facebook Messenger for me personally is it just got too much, right? Because everybody would comment, everybody was like falling all over each other, and this party that's supposed to be going, right, we're posting enough in a 15-minute party, and then you have people commenting, and it just gets lost, and people get like overwhelmed, and they either like leave it or shut down, or just don't see everything. So I was kind of brainstorming on how I could change it up. And for a while, I did it through texting groups, right? And just add everybody to a texting group. But it was the same thing. Like, not everybody wants to have their phone blowing up like a bazillion times through text messages. So I was like, what if we use Project Broadcast? So I actually, so I have the host send me all of the contacts. And then I load them into Project Broadcast, and I tag them with, Cora's, Pampered Chef Party, and then like February 2023 or whatever. And so I put it in there, I use a tag, and then I load, because you can schedule right in Project Broadcast. So I schedule my posts in there. And then what I love about it is I have an open line of communication automatically with every guest in the party. So sometimes, like, and of course I would love to show you this example, but my computer is still being poopy. So so in Project Broadcast, like I'll have, of course, the welcome post. Then I'll have posts like on the power tool. I have a little post, like a video that I've done on YouTube. So I have all these different posts, links. I always make sure that they have like either a video or a graphic to go with every single post. And I literally do 15 minutes a post. So 15 minutes, 1 post per minute. So 15 posts. 2 of them are ones that pretty much require like a response. So one of them is a guess how many game, which normally, like, I know everybody has their feelings about that too. Like, it's not one of my favorites, but it gets people to respond. And then I can I'm like, okay, so this is a real number. Good. So they'll respond with a guess how many, and I always do a drawing for that. And then the other one is I invite them to my customer page. And so I say, when you join Genevieve's favorite foodies, reply join with the word join. And I'll send you an e-cookbook. And I always make it super enticing, like, oh, an e-cookbook with your favorite holiday appetizer recipes or whatever it is. And so they're excited to do that. So they join, they respond, join, and then I can, thank them, send them the cookbook, and again, start a conversation. And so sometimes like I'll do the text parties and sometimes they'll respond, like maybe the only response I get is the guess how many game, but at least I know there's a warm body on the other line and I can thank them for their order or thank them for participating. I can send them a booking message, send them a recruiting message, and just get a lot of interaction. And sometimes, they'll respond like, I've never done a party like this. Do I have to join a link somewhere? Do I have to do something? And I'm like, no, not at all. And I said, I'm just going to post on here. Just sit back, watch your phone for 15 minutes, and let me know if you have any questions and I'll touch base with you at the end. And so that automatically gives me a reason to follow up with them at the end of the party. I'm like, what did you think? Lindsay, did you like our 15-minute party? Like, I can't wait to hear what you think. This is a different kind of Pampered Chef party. What's your favorite product? And so I can have the conversation. Like, my goal is every party I do, I want to make it as much like a cooking show as possible, because that's where I shine, is my cooking parties. That's where I make the most contacts. That's where I do the best. So I always try and think about how can I make my online or virtual parties or express parties like my cooking shows. And that's how I do it, is I can have a conversation with every person. So I try and have that text interaction with them at the end, even if it's just like, hey, I look forward to staying in touch. I have a big giveaway going on in my customer party, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my texting party, and that's how I do.
So I think there's a lot of excited people who use Project Broadcast on this call who are like jumping in their seats. I'm seeing bobbing heads here, Genevieve. So you're doing great. What would you say your most successful parties are? Looking at your party average, which one personally? What's your favorite?
Cooking parties. Yeah. My goal is to make all the other parties as much like a cooking party, because that, and of course everybody likes the break, right? I love being able to take vacation and run parties and, and not have to do them, but I really do. I love the cooking party. I love the people interaction. I recruit and book more than at virtual parties. So that's always my favorite.
Are you, okay, so all right. Peggy Larson asks, what are your averages for sales and bookings and recruits for your 15-minute parties?
I'd say they're pretty, I don't know, somewhere between 500 and 800 probably for my 15-minute parties. Bookings are average. 1 to 2 bookings, not great, but enough to keep me going. Recruiting isn't where I want it to be with these parties, which is why, I'll do them, but they're not my favorite.
Yeah, interestingly, being near Marna Ross at a conference, she said that all of her January recruits came from her live cooking shows.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, and this is why in every party, like my link trees, my virtual parties, any of those kind of things, where I do get my recruits is going to be adding them to my customer page, because my customer page is fire. Like, we have so much fun on there. I go live all the time. And so that's always my goal too, is I funnel all of my people to my customer page, like any way I can. Like, if that's where you're going to have your focus, like I do, like every interaction, every text, every return you do for someone, thank you so much. Like, happy to help you with the return. Make sure you're on my customer page. Like, it is literally like, it's at the email signature. I have it on my, I constantly promote it, because that's where I can do my recruiting, because they get to know me, right? They interact with me. So that's where I'm really going to talk about the promotions and talk about why I love my business and talk about why everybody should be on my Pampered Chef team. And so even if it's not happening in your parties, find a way, right, to continue the conversation and to continue that relationship. And that's where I do it, as my customer page.
Just a clarification, your customer page is your VIP group on Facebook?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And Paula Brockner said, did your computer boot up?
I literally I have all my screens over here, and I'm watching it like a hawk. So I'm not distracted. I'm just watching the computer. It's trying to boot. I promise I'll show you if I can. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm going to just ask if anybody wants to ask a question, unmute and ask it directly at this point. because
I have
we're,
a question.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I've been doing my 15-minute parties, which I fell in love with because you could do I could do like 4 in a night. I have been doing them in group text and loved I do love that idea of Project Broadcast and have toyed with it so many times. But the only reason I hold back is because I feel like, the one-on-one almost takes the party feel out of it. I didn't know if that would take away I know a text party to me, it's not like the most fun party people have ever been to, but I didn't know if the one-on-one takes away from the group, like being with their friend, because sometimes, I don't know. What have you found? What have you gotten people's feedback was?
Yeah, I totally hear you. And, there's always going to be pros and cons about every party, right? And so you just have to decide what feels best to you. I mean, I try and have an interaction. I try and make it fun by including personal videos so they don't feel like it's just like a robot. I do have the host reach out to them afterwards and thank them for coming and like tell them how much fun it was to have them be a part of it. So that way they feel like they're a part of something. But to me, like the potential downside of like it not feeling like a party outweighs the part where I think like people just get bombarded with these text groups and like group tech or group messaging and things like that. And it just like, and then they're just like, good grief, like my phone will not stop dinging, or, like I can't even see like her post because it gets buried by everybody else's comments. So yeah. But I mean, you got to do what works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for the question.
I have a question.
Sure.
So would you be open to sharing a bundle so that we could kind of see the whole idea? Because I'm a very visual person, and so I have a really hard time trying to create from a blank page, but I can copy and tweak.
So I'm happy to share stuff. Here's the part that that I'm still working on is I don't do bundles. So I just don't. So I haven't, and it's one of those things like I need to learn how to do that so I can make it one step easier. And I haven't got there because I just kind of started playing around with these parties in the last few months. So
I would be happy to help you with that if you would share it. If you want to get on a private Zoom, because the bundles are really easy. It's really a matter of just grabbing them all and sticking it. I mean, it's like 5 minutes and you're done. So
yeah,
if you
totally send me a message. I don't know who's talking, but send me a message. And yeah,
that was Carolyn Rasmussen. Ladies, I'm going to stop the recording, not the conversation, just so that we can have this be a concise training. So excuse me for a minute.